Before we begin today's video, I just want to return the shout out to Tim Rogers of Kotaku, who name dropped me in an interview with Square Enix.
I want to shout out YouTuber The Night Sky Prince. I loved his videos that he did breaking apart the battle system. That guy needs this game possibly more than I do. So when you get a code of this game to send it to me, send it to him first and then print off another one and send that to me.
I'm pretty sure he's putting out at least one video a day at this point.
He's given the fans what they want. He's given me what I want. He guessed those are ATB bars. It's going to be ATB. You're going to spend those on skills.
This was one of the coolest moments for me ever, and I was surprised to see everyone knew who I was. It really was such a big honor. Thank you so much, man. You're the greatest. And with that out of the way, let's get started. When Final Fantasy X first launched back in 2001, it made franchise history by being the first game in the series to feature full voice acting. At the time, it was pretty groundbreaking to be able to hear the characters speak and expressing real emotions, no pun intended. We were so used to reading tons of dialogue, sort of making up voices in our heads, it was a welcome change. In fact, it was even advertised on the back of the box for just how big it was. And while nearly every major Final Fantasy after that would feature full voice acting, one thing we've never seen before is Square Enix go back and retroactively add voice acting into a remaster of a game without it ending up being a full remake like FF4 on DS. But apparently with Final Fantasy VIII Remastered, it seems like this might be happening. That's right, Final Fantasy VIII might be receiving actual voice acting. When looking at the front-end code of Final Fantasy VIII Remaster's website, there's an official description of the game. However, toward the end of the description, you might find something that jumps out at you, as it says, quote, Final Fantasy VIII Remastered is an RPG, available in English and Japanese voiceover, and is also text localized into French, Italian, German, and Spanish. Of course, it's always possible for this information to be a mistake or some sort of error on Square Enix's part. Considering that this information comes from the official website, it does seem to have a lot of ground to it, and it means that overall it's quite likely that Final Fantasy VIII Remastered will indeed feature voice acting, but it just all hasn't been announced yet. And because it hasn't been officially announced, it's better to file this one under rumor territory. But considering this comes directly from Square Enix themselves, even if not intentional, it definitely does have some real ground to it. Final Fantasy VIII Remastered having voice acting would be absolutely incredible, and increase the game's playability to a modern audience by a great deal. Although hopefully they edit some lip flaps onto the characters, because it would be incredibly awkward to hear them talking but their mouths are just not moving. That is certainly not a good look. But adding voice acting would certainly make the game feel fresh and renewed to play through, though it definitely runs the risk of potentially featuring bad voice acting, as the actors will be voicing over characters whose primary emotions were conveyed through text boxes, without any fully animated cutscenes to reference for emotion. And I can only imagine how weird that must be to act through. Also, if this does turn out to be true, it must have been an incredibly large amount of work to voice over a text-based game, with a large amount of dialogue to cover, and also a lot of work interpreting the intention of lines from over 2 decades ago. I would also be surprised if they added voiceovers but not a remastered soundtrack, as all the games labeled remastered so far have featured one. Though, don't get me wrong, I love the original PS1's music as well. Though this does add on to the rumors that the game will be receiving a physical release, with many retailers having listed the game for pre-order. If it were digital only, then that wouldn't be the case. The addition of voice acting on top of the game's revamped textures and character models would indeed warrant the game to have a physical release, alongside a much higher price tag than something like FF7 or FF9's re-releases, and something much closer to the price tag of Final Fantasy X-2 HD Remaster. So, Ultima Weapons, what do you make of FF8 Remastered potentially having voice acting? Does it excite you, or will you be turning it off and playing like normal? If this turns out all to be true, subscribe, click the bell icon, and let me know in the comments below. And if you've been enjoying my content, be sure to check out the Patreon for the Night Sky Prince. Great people like Richard Elie have been helping me provide you consistently great Final Fantasy and JRPG related videos. I could not have done it without them. Thank you guys so much. Shout out to Richard and the rest of the Ultima community.